If I speak with human eloquence and angelic ecstasy, but don't love, I'm nothing but the creaking of a rusty gate. If I speak God's word with power, revealing all his mysteries and making everything plain as day, and if I have faith that says to a mountain, jump, and it jumps, but I don't love, I'm nothing. If I give everything I own to the poor, and even go to the stake to be burned as a martyr, but I don't love, I've gotten nowhere. So, no matter what I say, what I believe, and what I do, I'm bankrupt without love. Love never gives up. Love cares more for others than for self. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut, doesn't have a swelled head, doesn't force itself on others, isn't always me first, doesn't fly off the handle, doesn't keep score of the sins of others, doesn't revel when others grovel, takes pleasure in the flowering of truth, puts up with anything, trusts God always, always looks for the best, never looks back, but keeps going to the end. Love never dies. Inspired speech will be over someday. Praying in tongues will end. Understanding will reach its limit. We know only a portion of the truth, and what we say about God is always incomplete. But when the complete arrives, our incompletes will be canceled. What is love? First, a disclaimer. While I do have some very definite opinions, I don't claim to be an expert on this or any other subject. The things I say in this video are the accumulated result of my lifetime of exposure to the Bible, some excellent examples I've witnessed in other people's lives, and my own personal errors. Take it as you will. That being said, please enjoy this Valentine's Day special. The passage you just heard was from the oft-quoted 1 Corinthians 13, and it defines love better than anything I can say or do. As a single person, you might think that I am making this from the perspective of someone on the outside looking in, but that isn't entirely the case. Though I might make so bold as to say my situation lends itself to a certain objectivity. There is an amazingly colorful cast of characters in my life, known as my family. It's from them that God has primarily taught reinforcement of the concept of love as put forth in His Word. I thank Him so much for that great gift, though I know that I am not half grateful enough. As I'm sure you've figured out, the first several lines of that passage basically boil down to the idea that we have nothing and are nothing without love. Easy to embrace concept, not hard to grasp. Or so we think. Because then it continues to say that loving comes with a certain list of do's or don'ts. And that's where it starts to get intimidating. If we are to truly say that we love, that means we have to put aside our egos, forgive when wounded, never quit, no exceptions, and control our tempers. Those are hard things to do when so much of our emotions are invested in other people. So many people walk around with the idea that love is a feeling. But if you actually read the verses and pay attention, you'll notice that love is all about attitudes and actions. People who think that love is a feeling invite a world of heartache for themselves and others. They are constantly searching for that glorious, warm sensation, that floating feeling of ecstasy. Sometimes they find it too, but then it sours, and they wonder if they ever really loved that person in the first place. So they split, often leaving wrecked marriages and devastated children in their wake as they continue to hunt elsewhere, searching for the permanent satisfaction in a temporary emotion. Don't get me wrong. Real love can give you those warm, fuzzy feelings. But while the feelings fade away, love remains. True love is not necessarily reciprocated. It isn't reliant on anyone else but you. That means that, yes, you can love those everyone else would call unlovable. Love is not earned, it is given. Love has a way of beautifying the most humble things. The husband that gets up to change a poopy diaper in the middle of the night so his exhausted wife can sleep shows more love than a dandified fellow with an armful of roses to present to his sweetheart. Love keeps an elderly spouse visiting their beloved in the nursing home, even when they are so wrecked with Alzheimer's that they can't even recognize them anymore. Love squeezes the heart that sees suffering and makes it ache to relieve it. Love doesn't quit, even when it has every reason to. And believe it or not, love gets angry. If you didn't love someone, if you don't care what happens to them, why would it bother you if they harmed themselves by doing drugs? If you don't love someone, it wouldn't matter much to you if they were a complete scumbag, as long as they left you alone. You wouldn't care what kind of people your child kept company with, or who they harass, bully, and pick on, as long as it doesn't interfere with your life. Lack of love is self-centered. Love seeks the best for others and can get very frustrated when the people on the receiving end of that love keep doing things that end up hurting themselves. Because love values truth highly, a loving person will call it like it is instead of condoning self-destructive behavior because they fear to hurt the feelings of a person or people that they love. The flip side of this, of course, is that love forgives. Love can be legitimately ticked at what another person is doing, but it doesn't keep score. It doesn't say, you owe me for what you've done. That doesn't mean that they blindly trust another person to act differently in a situation than they have every other time that same situation arose. What they do is refuse to hold it against them, or walk away because they're hurt or angry, no matter how justified. Love breeds bravery. It emboldens you to say things you wouldn't dare say to anyone else because you know you'll be accepted. It encourages others to lay their hearts bare before you because you can be trusted with that kind of treasure. Love is a healer. The ones you love can come crying to you because they know you'll wrap your arms around them and join them in their tears. Think of how many children have come running to mommy to kiss it and make it better, all because they are confident in their mother's love. I'm not going to cover everything because that's already been done by better educated and more articulate individuals than myself. What I will do is end this by citing the most powerful example of love that ever existed and can never be matched. Jesus Christ gave us the ultimate expression of love, one so powerful that he is defined as the embodiment of love. He was never a Casanova. What he was and is God. All-powerful, all-knowing, all-present, and pure God. A being who, unlike all of us, had every reason for a massive ego and would have been justified in strutting his stuff. And even though everything in the world is rightfully his, he humbled himself to come and live as one of us. He wants us so badly that even though the absolute purity of his nature demands justice for our crimes, he loves us so much, loves you so much, that the master of death himself subjected himself to death for us. Not just any death either, a death of utter humiliation and excruciating pain. That's how far he will go to prove how much he loves you. And proof of the adage that love conquers all resides in his resurrection. Death can't even keep him from those that are his. Now, personally, I have chosen to accept the truth of Christ's love, sacrifice, and identity. I hope that if you haven't, that you will too someday. However, no one else can make that choice for you. Because as 1 Corinthians 13 says, love doesn't force itself on others. God bless, and have a happy Valentine's Day.